The joy of love. Good morning. Welcome to Radio Maria Ireland. Father Eamonn with you here for our morning Chatechesis at this 11:15 hour here on Radio Maria. Thank you for your company, and a wave as always to our friends who are watching in on Facebook and YouTube. Even if you're watching a little bit later after the broadcast time, we know that indeed many people like to listen back. And actually on that topic, I might just mention we do have a Spotify account now under Radio Maria Ireland. If you're one of those Spotify users, which is a huge podcasting resource, we are now on Spotify, and so look up Radio Maria Ireland and you can listen back again to your favourite shows as you're on the hoof, and you can download audio files on Spotify to listen back to later. So if there's a favourite show of yours, Total Beauty, Tara's show is very popular, that's up there on Spotify. Download it and listen back later and have a listen in. And indeed this Chatechesis show is on Spotify, and Shane has put together a lovely finely engineered and audio refined edition of the Rosary. They're about 20 minutes for each of the sets of the mysteries of the Rosary, with myself and the collected voices of staff and volunteers that Shane put together in his expertise of managing audio and so on, producing the lovely audio file there. So the 4 sets of mysteries of the Rosary are up on podcast, and about 20 minutes if that's a time interval that suits you for praying the Rosary, and done at a nice gentle even pace. He was able to put it together very nicely. So when you can pre-record these things, they can get much finer quality over, say, the live moment, or again, you can kind of pick and choose a little bit better. So they're very high quality, and we do hope to attach videos to those at some point as well. So check us out on Spotify and download the app for your mobile device and just look up Radio Maria Ireland. You'll be able to listen into all of those podcasts there. Now, we would love for you to get in touch with us today. As always, our number is 089 467 2000 to text and WhatsApp us. Email us info@radiomaria.ie. And please give a call. Jackie is very kindly volunteering today. Thanks to Joan, who was in yesterday volunteering as well, and Pascalina, and Christine as well. We've got some lovely volunteers coming in at intros. If you can spare a bit of time to volunteer with us, to answer the phone, just help out in the studio during the busy hours of the day, by all means give us a call as well, and just get in touch, and we can slot you in if a time that mutually suits, that we can do with your help here, because we've 4 lines on the landline, and those 4 lights can be buzzing and hopping from time to time, and it's hard for everybody to answer the phone. The extra bit of help is always very, very welcome. So if you'd like to volunteer and do that, please keep that in mind. And that landline number 014 123456. Please do give a call here. We try our best not to miss any calls if we can. Every call is so valuable to us, as indeed every message as well. And thanks to Dermot, who was in touch after yesterday's show. He said he liked the comparison between Simeon beholding Christ as he came into the temple and taking the child in his arms, to the very same way that we receive him in his body, blood, soul and divinity in Holy Communion. At last, all-powerful Master, you can let your servant go in peace. Remember, we were chatting about that yesterday. So thanks for that indeed, Dermot. He was reminded of a sermon given him by a former novice master, where he said that in order to get to heaven, one needs the life of our Lord Jesus Christ in one's soul, the divine life, indeed, the gift of Christ. Adoremus in aeternum sanctissimum sacramentum. Let us adore for eternity the most blessed sacrament, and St. Blaise pray for us. Lovely text. So thanks, Dermot. Glad to know that you're doing well and listening in, and he sends fraternal greetings to us all here at Radio Maria as well. So good to know your health is doing well these days, Dermot, too. And from Francesco as well, he says, maybe a silly question. No question is silly. But how can we explain relics to Protestants? I find it perplexing sometimes. Well, not if you think of it in practical terms. We keep images of our family, letters that they wrote, maybe nowadays audio and video recordings of the loved ones who have died and passed on, and we treasure these items which remind us of the presence of loved ones. And in a certain way, you can open up a letter from a long deceased loved one, and it's as if they're present to you, that they're there with you. It's a beautiful moment. It can be very touching and call to mind many great memories and that too, are a reminder to pray for them. So relics are the very same, Francesco. We simply hold on to the memory of those who have died, and especially if they're great saints, that we might seek their intercession, that we might turn our eyes and hearts in prayer through their intercession to the Lord. And it's not any more complicated than that. Why would we not keep relics and mementos? What else is a headstone over a grave, but in a way a memento of those who have died, and a reminder to us to pray for them. So thanks for that, Francesco. I hope that it's a little bit short maybe, but I hope that answer helps to address it. Now it's the first Thursday of the month, and we start a little tradition before Christmas of bringing to you a kind of an update of how we're doing in terms of our growth and progress, and indeed our continuing ongoing needs. So I'm very kindly joined by our dear President, John Carlin, who joins me for a chat on that topic today. Good morning, John, and welcome.
Thanks, Father. Good morning to you and to everybody that's listening.
Lovely to have you with us. John is joining us by Skype today from the office, so you probably are running the job at the same time as chatting on the radio.
Yeah, I think it's called multitasking.
Well, there's no better expert, I think, than yourself, John. So thanks a million for joining us today, John. And we've kind of affectionately referred to this moment as the Sermon on the Amount. And the amount not just being financial, but certainly that of grace and of souls likewise too. So we're seeing the gentle growth all the while, John?
Yeah, it's... I'm just looking here. Eamonn kindly prepared some figures for us for the AGM, and like the growth is actually it's phenomenal, to be honest with you, as far as I can see. When we talk about the Sermon on the Amount, I always like to talk about the amount of listeners we have, the amount of people who are actually being touched by the work that's going on in Radio Maria here in Ireland. And I'm just looking at, there's one amazing statistic here. It's in relation to listeners on the website and the app only. Mm-hmm. And we've had an increase of nearly 30% in 2021 over that in 2020. And we thought we did very well in 2020. So, I know people might, it's very hard to grasp figures maybe over there, but there was a total of 584,806 hours listened to in 21, and that was on the website and the app only. And again, Aidan informs me that from the feedback that we're getting, that we anticipate or we expect or we estimate that there's 3 times as many listeners listening on Searview, and that's just an amazing. That alone just is mind-boggling to think that that Radio Maria is getting into so many homes and right throughout the country. And I suppose the other thing as well is it also there could be more than one person on the other end of whatever device they're listening to.
Exactly.
So it means in fairness, it means we're touching a lot of a lot of hearts, and I like to think about that, and I know you do as well, Father. But about the grace that's been generated by that at a time when it's really needed. So. That's the mission. It's we're talking about the amount. So I always like to talk about the amount of listeners, about the amount of grace. We'll never know the amount of grace that's been generated until we're on the other side, as they say. But it's a great way to start the year, to see this and know that we're on an upward trajectory. And our job now is to make sure that we maintain that, and that that the base for the radio station is strengthened and secured here in Ireland. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a great reflection, and it's a confirmation of the work that's been done there. Mm-hmm. So just well done to everybody. And I'd just like to thank all the listeners as well, because it's like when we get figures like this, it gives us a shot in the arm too. Just a confirmation to keep on doing what's actually being done. Mm-hmm. So with the help of God, that's the way it will continue.
Thanks be to God, yeah. And in fairness to Aidan, he's done the work. And again, as you mentioned, the only figures we can accurately get is from the website and the app, which are the streaming figures, because again, it's easy the computer just kind of logs all of these things. But I'll mention a couple of the numbers, John, as well, because they are very impressive. That the number of minutes of listening through the streaming service is 35 million minutes. And it just strikes me that, it only takes a minute. You can imagine just 1 minute of prayer and the blessing and graces that flow with one heart open to the Lord. And we've got 35 million just on the website. And as you say, we can multiply that by a factor of maybe 2 or 3 for the television Sairview, so 100 million maybe or more. Absolutely lovely to see. And just another key statistic too, again, not to throw too many numbers around, but the number of sessions that each, the period of time that a device, say a phone or a website that connects in, the average length is over an hour, which is an increase as well on 2020. In other words, that the quality and the period of time that people are listening for is increasing, which also reflects a real growth in faith and a deeper immersion in the journey of faith. You can infer from that people are really growing into this relationship with the Lord through the family of the radio. It's actually fabulous.
Mm-hmm. No, and again, I would put that down to the editorial content of the programs that are being generated there, and as you say, the quality. Once people are aware that there's an authentic Catholic voice that they can tune into at home or wherever they are on the end of their device, obviously it's fulfilling a need among the people, or there's a hunger out there for that that voice of truth. That I know, because obviously I listen fairly regular myself when I get an opportunity, and yes, it's an uplifting message. It's we're here giving good news about good news. That's and that's really what it is. I've never heard bad news. Well, not in Radio Maria, but it's I think that's the mission. The mission is to spread the good news right through as we can say, the four corners of the world. And again, there's another statistic in there about the number of countries where people have actually tuned in to listen to Radio Maria Ireland. It's over 186, I think, just from memory.
Huge. It's almost 198 he has, and I think that's almost all the countries of the world. There aren't too many left. Oh, he figures that out.
There's some lad sitting out in Antarctica with listening to Radio Maria. But it's incredible to think, that we're able to do that. That we're able to provide that service, to people right throughout the world, because that obviously is every country in the world. I would suspect there might be a few more in there even, but it's just mind-boggling. So I think the big thing here is that it's good for us. It's good to be involved in it. Of course it is. But the thing to I suppose to get across to our listeners is that without them this wouldn't happen. It's we really need the support and the generosity of the Irish public, which we're obviously getting, and we just need that to be continued, going forward now into 2022, because the challenges, I see the challenges that we're going to be faced with, in the next year, the years coming down the track, they're getting stronger and stronger all the time. So we need to be getting stronger and stronger all the time as well. And this is how we do it. And the one thing that I'm absolutely delighted with is the amount of prayer that has been generated through Radio Maria, not only in the studio, but the people who are tuning in, the people who are participating in the prayer. They're listening to the Divine Office, the Mass, obviously, the Divine Mercy. It's really, I think, for what we have, we're punching way above our weight, and and we need to continue to do that. And the reason why we're able to do that is, I firmly believe that we've been blessed by Our Lady. This is her radio station, and we're only doing what she wants us to do, and we just need to keep looking at her to see what it is she wants us to do and continue on that path. So it's a great. I think it's a great venture.
And certainly as well, John, over the past year, it's been lovely. Now that we've had permission to reserve the Blessed Sacrament. We've had 3 lovely periods of adoration in the past year. One for 40 days, one for a 9-day, another 3-day. And that, please God, we'll keep that going as best we can in the year ahead. We already have a couple of on-air live periods of adoration with the Divine Mercy at 3 o'clock today, and the Holy Hour that I like to do now on a Wednesday at 5 to 6. But that, again, that's an area of the apostolate and the mission that we're anxious to develop and build on too.
Well, to be honest with you, for me, that's the engine. That's the thing that keeps us all going, keeps us all together. And if we think for 1 second that we're able to perpetuate, what has been achieved already without prayer, we're only kidding ourselves. It's like, to me, the main focus here is for, I suppose, for Radio Maria to be the leader, to be the example to everybody that that without prayer we're going nowhere. And we can try and and sit down and address all the issues that are going on in the world today, but if we're trying to do it without prayer, we're wasting our time. I firmly believe that we've got to put God first in all of this, and and stop trying to reaffirm the world, if you know what I mean. It's a fairly tough mission at any time, but I think never as much as it is now. So that's why we need the prayer. We need to keep going back to the well, and and to strengthen our own faith to allow us to do that. And that's not only us, that's to every single listener that we have. And I keep, maybe it's the legionary in me, but I always think that if every listener is able to introduce one other person to the radio station, well then it's I know Frank Duff would always have said that if we are responsible for the conversion of one person, we'll have a friend in heaven forever, assuming we get there ourselves. But it is where I think we're at that point now where it's what we're doing is here we're bringing, or we're pointing the way, let's say, for everybody, all our brothers, our sisters, parents, cousins, whatever it is, our friends, we're pointing everybody towards heaven and saying, listen, this is the way to go. And every other way that's out there is just an illusion. There's an emptiness to it, which we don't have. So that's the point of Radio Maria. And we can't even think about doing that if we don't have a strong prayerful life ourselves. We just be hypocrites, and it'll fizzle out fairly quickly. So with the help of God, I suppose in a long-winded way, the prayer, the adoration, and all will continue, and it'll grow in 2022.
Yes, so please God, and to be that huge support that we know it is being to many, indeed, who are isolated or alone or finding, again, the times challenging. And my hope, as I've mentioned before too, is that the radio would be some support or an instrument in the hands of priests to encourage them in the gallant work that so many of our good priests are doing on the ground, but that we can accompany them on that path and that journey too, and give them a little bit of an uplifter to know that there are others. And the other beautiful aspect of the ministry that strikes me too here on the radio, it's bringing together like-minded people who are there in every parish in Ireland, and it's helping us to realise that the faith is still very strong. It's not that far away in many, and it's only a case of allowing it to flower and to flourish, and that, please God, a radio station like this can help it to flower and flourish, and that we can support each other a lot more strongly, as we need to be doing in the difficult times that we're in, for sure. So I can see the radio is an instrument, a powerful gift from Our Lady in so many ways. So very good. So listen, thanks, John, for all you're doing as well. Maybe just to update us a little bit on the numbers and the financial end of things. There's always great need there. We're so grateful indeed to our benefactors, but there are great challenges nonetheless for us, John.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Getting down to the nitty gritty. Obviously our costs have skyrocketed, given the amount of live shows and the work that's actually been done there. Like it's the requirement for more staff, has gone, it's increased dramatically. You just take a look here at the various statistics, and I suppose this is the analytical side of it. Like if it even take one figure, just even the wages figure, like the wages figure has basically, it's more than doubled over the last 3 years. Believe it or not, our wages figure for 2021 was just short of 300,000. Now, some people will recall that and all the rest, but we've over, I think there was one stage with maybe 15 staff there, and it takes it all. Like people have to understand that we're broadcasting 24/7, like it never stops. And the live broadcast was on to maybe 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the evening from 8 o'clock in the morning. So it's a long day, 7 days a week. So from that perspective, we're not like some of the other radio stations where maybe one member of staff would be commanding that type of a salary. They can assure everybody that every penny or every cent that is spent or every euro that is spent, that we expect to get and we demand to get the value for that. So that's just one figure just on the wages end of things. The other issue we have is, if I can put it that way, is that we were up until 2000, we've always been, let's say, very well supported by the Word family of Radio Maria. But they're expecting us to be more and more independent, let's say, as the years go by. And if I can just take a look here at the statistics, in 2018, they contributed 243,000 to the running of the station, whereas last year they contributed 65. And the reason that they were able to do that, to reduce their input, was because through the generosity of our listeners. Again, if I go back to 2018, we generated 56,000 from people who, and this is like people who were sending in, just whatever they could afford. Last year, believe it or not, and to me this is an amazing figure, last year was over 340,000. Is what the Irish, the Irish listenership, the general public, the people who, they certainly must appreciate, what's going on up in the studio. But 340,000 is a huge figure. In saying that, as I said, like last year, our listenership, went up. From what we know, it went up over, close to 30%, and we hope to do that again this year. And again, that's going to mean that we're going to have added expense to all that as well. So we can't be sitting back on our laurels. It's great, and I'd just like to thank everybody for the contributions they've made to date. And I would just ask them if they wouldn't mind just to keep us in their thoughts. If they do have a spare few euro floating around, if they could see to it that they could send it our way, because we actually need it, and not only need it, but we're seeing that we're getting real value out of it. If I didn't think that we were getting value out of the money that people were basically putting in our care, we wouldn't be doing it. But when we see that it's actually translating into, like the evangelization or the re-evangelization of our country, and not only our country, but right throughout the world, that's really what's going on. So it's the, as you know, Father, I always talk about the value statement, and that's the value that that the listenership of Radio Maria are bringing to the world. They're helping to re-evangelize their own country and the world. And when I say their own country, like we're talking about, themselves, they're people who live in the same house as them, their communities, their parishes, So it's I think we're having a very deep-rooted effect on the overall well-being of the country, and I would be fairly determined that we continue in that vein.
Very good, thanks. Thanks very much, John. If you just joined us, I'm speaking with John Carlin, who's the president of Radio Maria Ireland here, and a volunteer, I might add, too, and bringing considerable financial and managerial experience to the blessing of the radio as a chartered accountant running his own accountancy business, and knowing full well the nature of figures and how to gain value, indeed, that, as you put it. And lovely to see indeed. The generosity is very humbling, I might say, from so many people. And as you say, John, people giving what they can. But proving the fact that indeed that many are being touched and helped, and in fact that the radio belongs to you as a listener. We're certainly not here for any celebrity status or any other status of any description, simply at the service of the gospel. But indeed, when you have a staff of that proportion, there were 12 on the staff now, to try to meet those particular costs. Not to mention anyone who's involved in business will know well the money that needs to be expended on rent, on rates, on licensing fees. The technical side of things is considerable expense as well here, as indeed all the other day-to-day heating, lighting, office supplies, the promotion side of things, printing and publishing too. All of these add up. So the way I've just helped to try to explain to listeners too, John, is that everything that flows in here, it's like fresh flowing water or river, is really, as soon as it arrives, it's flowing back out the door. And I see that with the donations, John. You're all the time paying the next bill and the next bill with it. So it means there's life is flowing with this.
Yeah, and there is there's a challenge to it all, but it's great involved in that challenge. It's as I said at the outset, I'm fairly convinced that Our Lady has blessed this undertaking without a doubt, and there's been many a time when we've been let's say financially embarrassed, and somebody just sends a contribution through the door, and it gets us onto the next stage. I'm not too bothered. I'm fairly certain that Our Lady will provide for us providentially as we go on, and as I say, our job is just to make sure that the content and the number of people that we can actually reach is maximized every time. And it's funny, I used to have an expression I used to say to clients years ago, that you've got to make your assets sweat. And I'm fairly certain we're making all our assets sweat here in the course of this ministry. So it's, as you say, yeah, definitely the rent. Our rent bill is $45,000 a year. We pay RTA, I think it is, for the to be able to broadcast in the first instance, whatever technical assistance we need from them. It's about $36,000 a year. There are very substantial bills here that that need to be met, and they're unavoidable. And as I say, it's only through the generosity of the Irish people that we're able to do that. And this is our radio station, and we have a responsibility for it. So it's only through that providence and the generosity that we're able to do what we're able to do. So I'm just asking people to, if they could, just continue with that generosity. It never amazes me, or never stops amazing me, sorry, just how generous people are. So with the help of God, if we're sitting here next year, when we're talking about the sermon on the amount, the amount will be at least another 30% increase in the number of hours, the number of listeners, all of that. And I suppose really what we're trying to do here is to ensure that Radio Maria and that our faith or our church becomes again part of the DNA of the Irish people and abroad. So it's not by any stretch a shy mystery or a shy apostolate. We've set ourselves fairly high bars, and thanks be to God, every time that we look back, we've been able to jump them. And I know that in 2022, there'll be a higher bar or a bigger fence to jump, and we do fully intend to do that. So that's really where we're at. We're moving forward in faith, and that's the way to go. And it's we always have to keep the first and foremost, it's what we're about. We're not about collecting money, but we need money. We're not about it's not a financial mission at all. This is purely missionary, gospel, evangelization. This is what we're at. So every time somebody makes a contribution to that, they're contributing to the well-being of themselves and their community and their families in the country. So that's what we're about.
And in fact, the excuse me, the World Family too, I've just pointed out, and it's a lovely thought, that the closer we can reach self-sufficiency as a radio station, as so many others have done before us, that it enables them then to help the weaker radios excuse me, to grow and to build. So particularly Radio Maria England and Portugal, which are still in their early years and in need of huge financial assistance. The closer we get to that independence of the World Family, which is really other listeners in other countries who kindly donate, we are assisting. It's a kind of double effect. Not only are we helping Radio Maria Ireland, but assisting the World Family to help other radio stations too.
Yeah, to be honest with you, Father, all we're really doing is repeating history, because the Irish have done this over the last few centuries. In fact, I'm fairly certain, we can go back to, I remember when Pope John Paul II was here, he stopped off in Clonmacnoise and he cried because of what Irish missionaries did, from Clonmacnoise for as far as field as Poland and parts of Russia. Like, he read it when he was studying in his youth, I think. The Irish have had a huge effect, in the missionary sense in the entire world, which we're all aware of. We all know it. We've all heard it before. But we're able to sit here, like you're in Ballymount, Sandyford. We're able to sit here and talk about, the missionary impact that we're beginning to have again in relation to the English-speaking world. When we see, the statistic there that Aidan prepared for us on the number of people who listen to Radio Maria Ireland from different countries. So, and I know, we're lucky here that we get access to the feedback, from various people all around the world about, the impact that Radio Maria is having on their lives. And, I saw texts come in. I seen one come in recently there. I think it was Spanish. I don't speak Spanish, but it could be. But the point is, it was coming in from outside, the Irish diaspora, as they refer to it, which is great to see. So, we're truly missionary in the real sense, I feel. And, if we're able to, again, if we're able to contribute to the, to the stabilization and the growth of another Radio Maria station in England, or indeed in Africa, or wherever, we're really, again, I think the term I used initially was we're punching above our weight. And, I firmly believe that we need to continue to do that.
Sure. And just to mention too, John, and largely due to your tenacity and hard work, that we've received our charitable status with the charity regulator, which is no small step that we've succeeded in this past year. And thank you indeed for that. And will bring its own blessings upon us too, please God.
Yeah, I won't take all credit for that, Father, to be honest with you. There was a lot of people involved in that. But the point is that we now are a registered charity. I'm fairly certain we were the last charity to be registered with the charities regulator here last year. Okay. I think I got the email on, I think it was the 23rd of December. Right. There was a young lady in there who really went out of her way to try and assist us and direct us and all the rest of it. So thanks to her. But now that we're a registered charity, we'll be able to, after there's a short period of time, we'll be able to avail of tax relief on donations, that type of thing. So it's opened up. Let's say it's opened up an alternative means of funding for us as well, thanks to the revenue commissioners. And it's good news. But to me, it's a reflection of the let's say the growth of the studio of the radio. And again, becoming an intrinsic part of Irish society, that we now are a registered charity, and again, what we need to do is we need to sit down and see how we maximise the benefit of that as well, and make sure that, and again ensure that we continue to work. We actually take our, and I can say this with my hand on my heart, we take our responsibilities fairly seriously. Insofar as the various fences that we have to jump to ensure that everything is done properly and there's proper stewardship within the company. And again, I know that the charities regulator puts great emphasis on that as well, which is good from our perspective, because it means that it's a constant reminder to the people that the people that are supporting us, that we're doing everything properly. Let me put it to you that way. That that everything is above board, and that we do actually get the full value out of every piece of assistance that we get.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, we do, and again, it's a great affirmation, as you say rightly, John, of all the good work that's been going on, not just with staff, but all our dear volunteers, and again, our many dear benefactors and friends. And we're so grateful. Just to reiterate that again, it's always a little moment to say thank you so much to so many people. And our Mass on the first Thursday of the month, likewise just praying for all our deceased benefactors and friends too, that they are not forgotten, for they've made their contribution. We stand on their shoulders, and we're so immensely grateful. And I do hope that from eternity they are still our benefactors and friends as well. So this connection, or this family, isn't just of this world. It's certainly keenly focused on the world to come. And it's such a great privilege and a blessing to be involved in this. And it's, as you say, John, clearly Our Lady's hand is at work. If this isn't part of the triumph of her Immaculate Heart, I don't know what is.
No, I totally get that. And and we're here, and we're asking people for support, and the support comes in various different guises, and or in all guises. Like the first. To me, and I mean this sincerely, to me the biggest type of support that people can give to us is prayer support, and and when we do get around, to recommencing the adoration, now that things are beginning to level up a bit on this COVID thing, I really would like to see as many people as possible coming to visit us. Like this is their radio station, this is your radio station. And everybody that's listening has a contribution to make, whether it's by prayer or or financially or whatever. But I would there's an invitation here for people to come and take ownership of it. If I can put it that way, it belongs to everybody. It's Our Lady's radio station, so I'm fairly certain she wants all her children involved in it at whatever level, whether it's prayer, whether it's volunteering. If you can help out in your locality, or obviously if you're closer to the radio station, if you can come up and help out, whatever. Don't worry, we'll find a job for you. There's a real, and the word you used there, Father, was family, and there is a real sense of family in Radio Maria, and we need to nurture that. We need to make sure that everybody gets that feeling, even when they walk in. Like anybody who's ever been in the radio station, I'm sure they're struck by the sense, by the environment. There's a real sense of the sacred. There is obviously now the sacred is actually, we have the Blessed Sacrament, which is fantastic. So there's a real sense of the sacred even as you come through the front door. So I've said it for a long time. During the lockdowns, I look forward to the day where we can offer a céad míle fáilte to everybody to come up. I don't know. I'd have to sit down and take a look at the current situation, but I think we're moving in that direction, if I can say that. So I would just like people to take ownership of the radio, and in that way, they will ensure the continuation, the perpetuation of of Our Lady's presence in each of the homes in our country.
Mm-hmm. And you'll be, no doubt, donning your Tyrone colours one of these days. We're looking forward to going northwards with our promotion to Downpatrick in a couple of weeks and Banbridge, and certainly hoping to reach out in the north of Ireland a little more as well going forward.
Well, now, Father, if I put on my Tyrone colours to go to Downpatrick or Banbridge, no, listen. I'm delighted. I'm delighted that we're looking north, and again. Downpatrick. Well, we've St. Patrick there. Like, why wouldn't we want to go to Downpatrick? I'm looking forward to that. And again, as I say, if anybody's listening feels that they could do something similar in their own parish or in their own area, just ring us, and we'll keep in contact, and we'll make sure that something happens. You've heard me say before, the worst thing that can happen is we sit in a room and come up with all these great ideas, and then everybody leaves the room and nothing happens, which is very often what happens in business, believe it or not. But we can't do the same, because we have a bigger responsibility. And as I say, if somebody rings us and offers their time or their gifts or whatever it is, I'm fairly certain we'll make use of them. And I do look forward. I might actually try and wear my Throne jersey up to Downpatrick to see if I get away with it.
You'll draw some attention if nothing else.
Yeah, it will certainly have people talking.
Very good. Well, listen, John, thanks a million for giving us so much of your time and indeed for all of your expertise and it's just huge contribution to the work of the radio as well. Always very grateful indeed to you, because it's just marvellous having that kind of backup really from the business end of things as much as from the sort of leadership end as well. So we're very grateful to you as well, John, and thank you for that and for your time this morning.
Yeah, I can assure you, Father, I get more out of this than I put into it.
Sure, great.
So that's so there's no need for thanks or anything. That should be reflected straight back to its source, if you know what I mean. It's I'm delighted to be part of this, and it's to me, this is what's needed. This is what the country needs, and the most patriotic thing, like Frank Duff wrote, True Devotion to the Nation. The most patriotic thing that we can do at the minute is pray for our country, and to pray for our families and ourselves, obviously as well, our families and our communities, because that's really what's needed at this particular point in time.
Amen to that. So God bless you, John, and thank you so much, and God keep you safe and all the good you're doing. You probably have a queue outside your office door now of the next things to be doing.
Listen, they'll be there tomorrow, don't worry.
Well, very good. God bless you, John. Thanks a million for joining us.
And thanks to everybody.
Indeed.
Okay,
thank you for that. God bless you. Take care. Bye-bye for now. Very good. We're just coming closer to 12 o'clock. So thanks indeed to John Carlin, our president, indeed, and volunteer, I might add, with all his expertise in business and in accounting, minding and caring for the books and all the cash flow and everything. And you've heard some of the statistics there. Do have a listen back if you want to hear those again. This will be up as a podcast and a repeat, of course, too. Or if you want to get in touch and find out a little bit more, you'd be welcome to as well. But it's just a marvellous blessing. And again, to just reassure you that this belongs to you. This is your radio station, and we are here very much at your service and seeking indeed to be at the service of the church and support to one and all. So all of you who do contribute once again in any way, prayer, sacrifices, promotion and financially, we're so immensely grateful, and we give thanks to God and glory to God. And there's no doubt there are rewards aplenty in the grace flowing. As John says, indeed, the more we give, certainly the more we receive. That's the nature of things. So we didn't get to our little piece of music today, Tara. Sorry about that. She had one lined up. We were in full flow there, and when John gets started, it's I think the Holy Spirit suggests, well, let him share with us all this great enthusiasm and energy too. So again, many thanks indeed, and God bless you all. We might come back on some of those statistics again to share with you. Aidan has put a lot of work there into it. I see there's about 18 or 20 new shows, in fact, on the list he put here in the last year, and quite a number of new presenters for shows as well. And one last one he has here. We're live about 85% of the time, between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday to Friday, and about 80% Monday to Sunday. Just it fluxes or waxes and wanes a little bit, but that's a considerable output of live broadcasting, which Aidan assures me is even more than some of the other bigger Radio Maria stations around Europe even too. So indeed, thanks be to God for all the blessings indeed and all this great gift of this means of communicating the gospel in Radio Maria. So I hope you enjoyed and found that informative for the sermon on the amount. And if you are one of those gallant donors, thank you so much. If you can help us even further, or if you feel inspired to help us, please do. You can see the great blessings that are coming of it all. So very good. I'll take my leave of you now for today's Chatechesis, and do please stay with us. We'll have our Angelus and midday prayer, and of course our live lunchtime rosary at 12:30 after your say as well. So thanks very much, Tara. We'll pause now from the camera, and do stay listening. We'll just allow our Angelus bells to toll.